always thought my sister, 27, and I, 25 male, had a decently close relationship until a few years ago when it came out that she thought of me as a golden child. She held resentment towards me for things that I just looked at as the typical, more lax treatment of the younger child in the family. The whole thing was pretty silly, especially since we were both years out of being under our parents' roof at this point. So we went a while without talking. We saw each other at family events but didn't really speak. I was invited to her engagement party as a form of an olive branch extension. I met her future husband's brother there, and we immediately got along. The two of us got to know each other and spent about a year as friends before making things official around a month before my sister's wedding. I love his family so much. His parents are warm and inviting in a way that feels so genuine. Even before I was introduced as a significant other, not to knock my parents, but with them being lawyers and working politically adjacent careers, it can be easy to become jaded when you watch them schmooze to people's faces, even when that doesn't reflect their true feelings. I was the first person he ever brought home to meet them, and they made me feel like part of the family immediately. Their youngest brother has been equally as welcoming. She was angry again when I told my sister this, thinking it was something we could bond over. Apparently, she didn't receive the same treatment. This resulted in a big argument, which led her to saying something to the effect of, "I guess this is what happens when two golden children get together." I pushed back against this, and it further devolved with her pointing out that she couldn't believe I had chosen her husband's brother out of all the people in the world. She said I had stolen opportunities from her growing up, and now I was stealing her in-laws. At one point, I considered telling my partner's parents about this to let them know the animosity my sister apparently holds toward them, but I decided against it. And I don't really know where I stand in this conflict, and at this point, I'd just like some outside perspective. Am I the idiot? So your first instinct was to tell on her? You are the idiot. God, even making your relationship with her brother-in-law official a month before her wedding, when you'd been friends and keeping it quiet for so long, seems almost deliberate to pull focus on you. Seriously, he's literally trying to upstage his sister and also tattle on her. Conveniently, he comes out with the relationship right before his sister's wedding, but that's glazed over like it's innocuous. That's huge. Not getting enough attention, OP? Stealing your sister's limelight's not getting enough? So you're gonna tattle? It was a month before his sister's wedding. She doesn't get the whole month before her wedding. Also, oh my God, my younger brother just wanted to steal the spotlight from my wedding? It's very possible that the wedding did factor into it, in the sense that there was concern that it might come out at the wedding and be seen as trying to steal the bride's thunder. So they instead ensured it was disclosed prior to the wedding. OP, do you have a history of telling on your sister to make her look bad? Most golden children don't realize they're golden children. You admitted your parents were more lax with you. Also, it's really immature that you would go behind her back and tell on her. It sounds like you are the golden child, and you don't want to admit the favoritism because you like it. And please don't date your sister's fiance's family. This mess is always bound to happen. I get you can't help who you fall for, but she extended the olive branch to repair your relationship with her, not for you to hook up with her fiance's brother. She probably regrets ever reaching back out to you. I mean, look at it from her perspective. If she views you as the golden child and her childhood is in your shadow, she finally finds another family to bond with without having to compete with you. Once she felt comfortable, she tried to repair your relationship. Then you show up, get on with everyone better than her, hook up with the brother, wait till a month before the wedding to announce it, and then call her up to brag. I'd be angry too. I, female 23, am currently at college. I live with roommates, and I don't have a lot of money at the moment. I can afford necessities, but I need to count my pennies before buying any luxuries. I have a cousin, Jean, female 27, who I'm fairly close with. I don't have any siblings, and I think of her as the sister I never had. Last year, I was in a much better financial position. It eventually went downhill because I was unexpectedly laid off from my job and had a bunch of surprise expenses. hence why I'm not doing so great right now. Last year, Jean was in a tough spot as she had car problems and had to move back in with her parents after getting evicted from her apartment. She was working a minimum wage job and was really struggling. I paid the mechanic bill for her car, around $300, and I loaned Jean an additional $900 to help her with their expenses. I knew the whole deal about loaning family members money and wasn't too worried about whether or not she'd ever pay me back. Jean paid me back $400 5 months later and told me she'd pay me back the rest when she could, but she never did. Once again, I don't mind. I know she needed the money. I'd feel absolutely evil if I watched her be unable to afford necessities when I could have helped. But here's where I could be an idiot. A couple of months ago, Jean started a Hulu account that she pays for. She gave me the login and told me I could use it. Last week, I noticed that I couldn't log into the account, and I texted Jean to ask about it. She read the text but didn't respond for a few hours, so I called her. Her boyfriend picked up, told me that they had changed the password, and explained that he doesn't think it's reasonable that I get to use their Hulu without paying for it. He said if I wanted to share the account again, I should contribute to the cost of upgrading the subscription to unlimited devices. I told him that's fine, but no thanks. I'd rather not then. I'll get my streaming fix somewhere else. I might have come off as abrupt or blunt, I guess, because Jean later called me and accused me of being condescending and disrespectful to her boyfriend. I apologized. I told her I didn't mean to come off that way and repeated our conversation. Jean said she was sorry, but they couldn't let me freeload. I laughed and told Jean that she couldn't possibly be calling me a freeloader. She said I am if I'm just going to use her for her subscription. I told her that I thought we had a relationship where we helped each other out and brought up the money I loaned her, which she hadn't even fully paid back. Jean called me petty and said that doesn't make me entitled to use her account. I told her I didn't even care about the Hulu account. She said I'm materialistic for keeping score, told me to leave her alone, and hung up the phone. My aunt and parents are now also saying I'm petty and telling me to apologize to Jean as I'm not treating her like a good family member. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. It's not keeping score to remind her that she freaking owes you $500 or that you gifted her $300. If you have a chance to talk to her boyfriend again, ask if he's the one who'll be setting up the repayment schedule. She should be paying you interest. This is ridiculous freeloading on her part. And until your aunt and parents make good on her debt for her, they have nothing to say on the matter. Yeah, freeloader? That's a little rich coming from. Maybe Jean should cancel her Hulu account and use the money she saved to pay you back. Obviously not the idiot. It would have been petty to ask her how she was paying for Hulu when she still owed you so much money. The nerve of her to call you materialistic and petty when she's miffed over $10 a month while owing you over $500. Ridiculous. Boyfriend gives off the my girlfriend/mommy pays for everything, and that's $10 not being spent on me energy. Hulu boyfriend crisis. Ugh. It's gross that she's letting her boyfriend interfere in her relationship with others. I would distance myself from them. I, female 32, married my husband, 35, 6 years ago. I met him through a competitive soccer league. I played at university, and he played semi-professional before he moved to North America. I've tried to learn how to cook meals from his country and have several cookbooks. He never complains and has praised my cooking often. We've cooked meals together for dinner parties and have no complaints. I am currently pregnant with our first child, and his mom and sister have come over to be here for the birth and to help for a while. So the problem is that whenever I'm cooking, all three of them have started coming in and changing stuff around. It doesn't matter if I'm making something from their country or not. They've started saying, oh, that heat is too high or low for this meal, and they'll change it, or adding ingredients or things like that. When my mother-in-law and sister-in-law cook, they get all offended if I offer any suggestions. My husband says to leave them alone because they know what they're doing, but he won't give me the same courtesy. So I've started walking away from the kitchen as soon as they change anything. I'll simply walk out, go onto the deck with a sweet tea, and enjoy the sunshine until it's time to eat. Now they're complaining that I'm making them do all the cooking and just sitting there doing nothing. I said that it was their choice to help out with that meal, and I appreciated their help. My husband says I'm being petty and vindictive, but I told him he said to let them help. So I am. I'm sitting on the deck right now watching them fight because when I walked out, they forgot about the roast, and now it's dry as heck. I'm thinking I might go for a drive and grab a burger while I'm out. Am I the idiot? I'm always in awe about these supposed family helpers that only stress out or depress the pregnant ladies in these stories. So good job, OP, for not letting them and finding your peace. A burger sounds about right. I suppose it's not possible for you to stay at your family's place for a while. That might also be good. Stress and gang-ups are bad for the baby. I can't give you not the idiot with a clear conscience because you are being somewhat petty, but your husband, mother-in-law, and sister-in-law are all idiots. No, OP isn't being petty. She's setting boundaries and holding to them because she's not being heard. It's a bit ludicrous to suggest that she allow her husband's family to run her out of her home while she's pregnant. Don't you think that would be just as stressful? She left her childhood home and moved into her own for a reason. It's hers and her husband's, and it's not petty to stand her ground in her own home. My worry would be when the baby arrives, how much will they help then? They don't sound like people that actually want to support what OP is doing and will just do what they want with her newborn. Or they'll be telling her that what she's doing is wrong, or do it this way, or the famous, "when I had kids, I" statements. I'm curious about who invited who and how that all played out. Feel free to send them away if they're more stressed than help. My 37 female, first husband 38 and I were divorced 11 years ago. We share custody of our daughter, and each of us has remarried, and everyone is civil. About a year before our divorce, my ex and I splurged and had some couples boudoir photos done. They turned out fantastic, well worth the money. The photos are in 2 sets. Set 1 is some more typical artistic photos, and set 2 is much more sensual and suggestive. When we split, we agreed we could each keep copies of the photos for posterity if we wanted, since we both basically paid for them. Consent issues were handled, and all were fine. I haven't looked at them for years and nearly forgot about them until my ex's new wife called me out of the blue, asking where we had them done, as they looked great, and she's thinking about having some done as well. I was a bit surprised to hear she had seen them, but it didn't upset me. She complimented the photos, and without thinking, I asked her if she'd seen both sets. There was silence, and she was a bit confused, and I clammed up. It became clear she didn't see the second set. Well, my ex called. You guessed it. He's upset. Understandably, he didn't intend to show her set 2, and now she's aware that there are more photos. Am I the idiot? I tend to have a big mouth, but it was an honest mistake. Not the idiot. You were his wife and you have a kid. What did she expect? That he's a virgin? How were you to know he'd keep both sets from her, especially after she called up asking you about them? It's fair to presume if she knew about them at all. Bless him. Don't show your new wife intimate pics of your old wife without her knowledge, and situations like this don't happen. If you have such open communication with your ex, then the least he should have done is give you a heads up that his wife would call you about the photos, what she saw, and what she didn't. Instead, what actually happened is that she found set 1 and was upset that he kept them, then called you to get info about the photos, perhaps not even serious about getting some done, but as an excuse to call. He dug himself a hole. I, 37 male, work at a fly-in, fly-out camp. I also make really good money. I earn roughly 3 times the American national average. This is great because it means I can afford a life. My sister, 24, lives at my parents' house with her boyfriend while they go to college. She got pregnant, and it was time for a baby shower. I was talking with my dad about it and asked him to remind my sister of my schedule because I wanted to attend. My stepmom heard and said the day wasn't about me and to not try and control things. So I dropped it. When I got the invitation, I was in the middle of one of my shifts, so I called my sister and asked her what the most important thing she wanted was. She mentioned a stroller that cost about $1,000. I said to take it off her registry because I'd buy it since I wanted her to have the best for my niece or nephew, and I wasn't going to attend the party. She asked me why I wasn't coming, and I said that I'd be working. She said that I should have told her so she could plan for me to be there. I said that her mom had said not to try and control anything or make that day about me. Now my dad is calling me, saying that I started a fight because my sister's angry at her mom for me not being at the party. My stepmom also called me and asked me to take time off work to attend. For me to do so, I'd have to skip a shift, so I'd lose 14 days of pay. That is $7,000 minimum coming out of my budget. I said not just no, but heck no. She tried to insist, so I asked to speak with them the next time I was home. We sat down and I showed them my pay stubs. I said that this was what I'd be losing if I came to the party. I said if it was really important to them that I be there, I would, but they had to make up for my lost income. I gave them the choice of $7,000 cash or $6,000, and they bought the stroller she wanted and had already marked it as purchased on her registry. They're angry at me now for expecting me to be paid to attend a party. They say that I'm putting money over family and that I'm being a miserly idiot. I said all it would have taken was her not interfering in a conversation between myself and my father. He could have reminded my sister of my schedule, and if she really wanted me there, she could have scheduled it for the week I was home. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. If your stepmother hadn't gotten in the middle of a conversation between you and your dad, then this mess could have been avoided. If it was really important to your sister that you be there, then she could have scheduled the baby shower during your time off work. I blame the dad more. He could have told his wife to stay out of it. Instead, he did nothing. This is on him. He should have relayed the message anyways. If he's the type to let his wife control his relationship with his child, then that's already bad. But now he's let her interfere with OP attending an event and is blaming OP? Stepmom is definitely the idiot here. It doesn't sound like OP actually wants them to pay him to me either. He's just making a point and showing why he really can't come. Stepmom's just angry at herself for shutting down OP's attempt to have it scheduled on a day he's home. It sounds like OP is really close with his sibling, so I'm sure he'll make up for not being at the shower. Either stepmom just didn't want him there, or she didn't realize OP's importance to her daughter and is embarrassed. Either way, OP's absence is 100% the stepmom's fault, and OP has zero reasons to feel bad about pointing out what he'll lose if he attends the shower. Plus, it's just a stupid baby shower, not a birthday or a wedding. Just change the date. Geez. However, I was talking with my dad about it and asked him to remind my sister of my schedule because I wanted to attend. That was your first mistake. You should have told your sister directly. Now you know to communicate with people and not pass messages through to others.